Hello everybody, welcome to Water Seed Talks. My name is Lonnie Eli. I don't think you know anything about me yet, but I think you know about my older sister Lani Elsa. Now today, we're going to look at why girls and boys struggle with courage. Let's dig deep into this conversation. This is hard work.
Okay guys, so we're back here again. So we had the postman at the door and that's why we had to cut the video. So we're back. So the first point that I was talking about earlier was that our kids need to have courage so that they can take a stand in the world. And what I mean is that for them to be able to share their views with the world without fear of feeling that they will be judged, or without fear of thinking that if they express themselves they're not going to be liked. Lani also was explaining a situation in RE where she had to take a stand on her faith in regards to how the world was created and how it was formed. You know, some people say Big Bang and science and all of it, and evolution and all of these things that come up, and you know, we have to stick with our foundation in regards to this is what the Bible tells us. Now the Bible again does not tell us that science doesn't exist. For me, it proves that all of those things in relation to the Bible actually make so much sense, but we're not going to go into that. Lonnie was explaining in his instance as to where he's had to take a stand. So did you have similar situation in regards to Lani also?
Yeah, lots of people in my class ask very stupid questions. Like sometimes people actually ask, is Jesus Santa? Well, I don't think that's true.
Well, absolutely, and how did you take a stand in regards to, was it someone asking Jesus to Santa, or what was the stand that you took?
Well, I had to stand up because I'm thinking, is this person just messing about, or are they really clueless? So I had to actually say that, no, this is impossible.
It seems like taking our stand, even for kids as young as this, starts from religious views in regards to where we think that our value is in the world. But really, courage is just about us taking a stand in whatever, not just in our faith, in our opinions, even when we don't feel like we know it all, but we just want to state our opinion. I think we should allow our kids to be able to, we should teach them to take a stand. Now, the second thing that I think that is important as well is that having courage allows our children to fulfill their purpose in life. Because believe me, you're going to realize that your purpose might have nothing to do with anybody else. You might never have, heard or seen anybody with that purpose.
Yeah, I think I've got like another scenario case of the standing up thing.
Okay.
When the time at like the George Floyd Black Lives Matter thing, when we went back to school in September, like a whole class was talking about it, and I remember some kids in our class who were a bit like ignorant, and they said that not Black lives just don't matter, it's all lives that matter. And I was kind of like really annoyed because their lives already mattered, and like with the incident with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor,
you thought it was a time for those people to shine. And again, I think that everything comes with understanding. I don't think that all lives matter, we know that, but at this moment it was a situation that a black man had died, a black woman had died, and we were asking the government, the media to look into these things. And so sharing your point or sharing your views doesn't make you a bad person. The person who said all lives matter is sharing their views. Who you think Black Lives Matter, you're sharing your views. But generally the idea is that for you to be able to share that view without fear, and for that person to be able to share their views without fear, that is the whole point of courage. It's for us to share our views regardless of what other people think. And that is what we want our kids to pursue. That is the life that we want them to live in a place where the media is not closing our account because we've expressed how we feel about something. Our friends are not shutting us down because they don't feel like we fit in a status quo. That's not what we want. We want our girls, we want our boys to be able to, stand up for themselves. Now, the third thing that I think in regards to why our children need to be courageous is to be able to fight off peer pressure. Peer pressure, my people, is real. My daughter was telling me about it the other day. Now, we sometimes think that peer pressure has to do with just you doing horrible, terrible things. No. Sometimes you could just be pressured to even do good things. That's fine. But what we must understand, that peer pressure, good or bad, has to make sure that it's something that we want to do. It's not because either party are forcing us to do it. Do you think that you've ever been pressured to do something that you didn't want to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really wanted a PlayStation, and lots of my friends have like PlayStations, Nintendos, Mega Drives, and all these stuff. And they've been forcing me like, oh, asking them for a Nintendo, and a PS4, and a Mega Drive. So I've just been like asking her over and over again, please, can I have one?
And she said no.
What is your example in regards to peer pressure?
When I was like in year R.
That's a long time
Sorry,
ago.
I just like year 1, year R, I just remember it so vividly. Because like all the girls in our class, we all used to like play with each other. There was no sectioning off in groups or anything. And I remember there was this girl, well, she's still in my class, but this girl in my class always wanted to play the horsey game. And after time, it got really boring. And I wanted to play the singing game, which is where we all started singing and the boys were judged.
Like X Factor.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's when I really liked watching X Factor with Dad. Okay. Anyway, and then she was like, oh, if you want to play your singing game, you can go play over there. And like she was like to the other girls, who wants to play the singing game? And no one like wanted to play the singing game because she didn't want to. So they all played the horsey game with her. And I remember like I was just by myself in the gazebo.
Playing your singing game.
Yeah, I think I sounded really bad.
And absolutely, but it must have felt really lonely.
Yeah.
It felt really lonely. So again, I think part of what we're sharing here is that being courageous doesn't always mean that it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun journey. You're going to tell everybody about your being courageous, and then people are going to applaud you. Sometimes it has nothing to do with applaud. It has nothing to people calling you a hero. It has nothing to do with that. It is just you within yourself deciding for yourself that you're going to take a stand in regards to something. Are you bored, Lunny? You're yawning. Did you guys see that? Okay, I think I'm talking too much. I think I'm getting that vibe. So I think the idea is that, being courageous doesn't always mean that you're going to be applauded. We just have to do it in our own little space, however we are. Now, the last part of the conversation is, how do we help our kids to be courageous? Number 1, any ideas?
Don't look at me.
Any ideas?
Oh, I got a good one.
Yeah.
It may be like really hard, and I know this sounds like really hard to do, but if like you feel like you're going to be pressured into doing something, make a stand even if everyone's going to judge you.
How do they do that though? Because it's not easy.
It's confidence goes with courageous.
Yeah.
Courage.
Yeah, confidence, being confident. Absolutely, I agree with you. I think that we need to let them think
For themselves.
Think
outside the box.
Well, think outside the box and be ambitious. If they're looking at a dream and you're thinking to yourself and they say, something bigger than them, let them dream big. That's what I'm trying to say. Allow them to say, you know what, I want to go to the moon, right? And just say, well, you think it's silly, but
I think everyone cocoons themselves into this thinking way of, I want to be a celebrity. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being a celebrity, but most people are like, I'm going to earn money going to YouTube, I'm going to be a YouTuber, I'm going to live in my parents' house and I'm going to do all this stuff. Or for boys it's mostly, I'm going to be a famous gamer. But there's nothing wrong with that, but only 1% of those gamers go to be famous.
Absolutely, I agree with you. So again, it's about, thinking outside the box, and I guess letting our kids dream big. I think that's another thing that we need to look at. Do you have anything?
Yeah. And I would say, parents, please don't put your children under peer pressure. If they have big dreams and they want to go to the moon or become an engineer or whatever they want, don't block them and say, oh, you have to be this.
I agree, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that. I don't believe in deciding what ambition my kids want to go for. I said, as you grow older, you will find out what that thing is. The best thing that I can do for you right now is to advise you and equip you in a way that when you decide to make that choice, you can then make that choice. It's your life. I'm here as a support system that God has placed in your lives to help you to get to that point. The second thing that I wanted to say is that, oh my people, we have to free our children from cultural bias. We can't say to them, do you understand what that means? We
Culture?
No, not really culture. Culture is important, but we can't say to our children, you know, because I think there's some things that I grew up with in regards to, you know, being a girl, when you have to marry, when you have to have children, the kind of things that you have to do. We have to free our children from that. We need to let them to be brave, courageous, take their own risk. You know, if your daughter or your son decides that they don't want to do something or they don't want to move a certain path, we need to advise them, but we need to allow them to take the risk. Almost like, I don't want to say to let them fail themselves and learn from the mistake, but sometimes that's what it really is. You know, freeing our children to take risk, not putting our own expectations on them in regards to when they have to do things. And then I think that helps them as well, because when we put them in a box, they sometimes can't come out of that box, and therefore they're not being themselves and they're not being their true selves, and it just impacts. I think I'm going to stop talking now, and then I'm going to let Lani also end the video in regards to, you know, what you want young girls and young boys out there to take away from the conversation of courage. And
Okay. What I'd like you all to take away from this video is that you don't have to, to have courage doesn't mean you can't be afraid of spiders. It just means you have the courage to stand up for yourself and not to let yourself be disrespected by other people just so you can fit in, like with the horse game incident. And if you feel lonely, it's okay, because you're not
it's
the only
hard.
one.
It's hard, don't get me wrong, but it's, you know, sometimes when you're lonely it's hard. But you have to believe that it's better for you to be lonely than for you to feel accepted in a place that isn't really you, because you will follow that trend for the rest of your life. You will try to fit in at work, you will try to fit in at university, you will try to fit in your marriage, you will try to fit in all through your life, which means that you will never speak your truth, and it will diminish who God has created you to be. So I really hope that you've enjoyed me talking mostly on this video and you've met my two assistants who has helped me throughout this video. So okay, have a lovely Christmas, in case we don't come on again till the new year, I think, I'm not sure, but anyways, peace, bye.
Bye. Peace, peace.